What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are having a great day today. It is a great day in the markets. That is to say, the very least. Bitcoin back above 95,000, huge resistance. We're going to take a look if Bitcoin is ready for another major breakout here. Also, going to be taking a look into altcoins and seeing if altcoin season is about to kick off. Some key insights you cannot ignore, simple and effective charts to just be keeping track of. You can do this as a beginner. You'll do this throughout your trading journey, just like I did. Okay, and I'm going to be sharing with you guys what I'm seeing on the charts and what's significant here. Now, if you guys are new to the channel, you guys gotta know that I dive deep into the charts every day to find the moves before they happen. Because let's face it, it's a lot less riskier than chasing a pumping green candle. The only thing riskier is shorting a big fat red candle. Okay? So, we're gonna find the moves before they happen here. If you guys have any technical analysis requests, make sure to drop one in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, and comment. I will choose a technical analysis request every day, and I will do one on here for you guys. So make sure to drop your comments down below and your requests. Okay? So I actually received a request yesterday about Trump coin. This should be fun. Okay? I am going to be doing that at the end of the video after I cover the more macro market charts here, because you have to pay attention to Bitcoin first. That is what drives the markets. If Bitcoin dumps, a lot of these altcoins aren't gonna last pumping. Okay, they're most likely gonna be dumping, and even the ones that are gonna be pumping, they're not gonna last very long. Okay, that's just from experience. Speaking from experience after 5 years of trading. Okay, 5 years of trading profitably. That is. Now let's take a look into what could be going on in this market right now. Okay, so hourly time frame, very important to be paying attention to this hourly time frame because we have a very short and small pattern breakout here. Now, this is the Bitcoin hourly charts. It has broken out of a very small cup and handle. Price target is going to be about 98,000. Okay, that is the price target. It basically has broken out. I don't see weakness on the hourly time frame. Basically retested the breakout point at about 95,000. Let's just say to be even. Okay, I usually like to enter on retests, right? So basically, when I don't see any weakness in the move, that's how I can tell by using the RSI. Very simple and effective indicator. If you guys haven't used it, I strongly recommend learning about the RSI. It's a very simple, very effective indicator, at least comparing to other indicators I've seen. I'm sure there's more sophisticated ones, but I think at the end of the day, it's how well you read an indicator that you use. Okay? Doesn't really matter how sophisticated it is. If you can read it well, even if it's a simple one like the RSI, I think you will do very well throughout your trading journey. Let's take a look into hourly time frame, right? So retest, basically 98,000 price target, give or take, right? Let's take a look into some smaller time frames here. I don't think they really matter at this time because we just had a fresh breakout and I don't see any weakness in the RSI, right? 3 hour, I think we're still looking good. Actually, there is weakness in the RSI on the 3 hour. Okay, we'll compare this high with this high, and we're seeing that pullback right now. Okay, so I'm just doing these charts live right now, and I'm running through the charts. If I see anything, I will point it out to you, right? We do have some weakness in the 4 hour as well. Higher high, however, not a higher high on the RSI, so that is bearish divergence. Something to be keeping an eye out on. Okay, it could mean a pullback on some of these time frames where you see divergence. Okay, that usually means a pullback, even though there are cases where you don't, but the probability of that is probably, it's not that big comparing to actually seeing a reversal. If you guys don't believe me, you guys can actually just back test it, right? You can back test looking in past time frames or past timelines or dates where there has been divergence. Just, back test it 10 times. See how many times you actually got a reversal and how many times you didn't. Um, and you could probably, judge for yourself, right? Now, we still do have some divergence on the 6 hour as well, right? It could be invalidated. We got 2 hours, 12 hour. I would still say that's divergence, but it just, this one just kept going, right? So you could be seeing something like this if it was a very strong market going in one direction. You see divergence, but this one just keeps going. That is, you will see that in a bull market, in a very bullish market. We don't see divergence on the daily time frame, which is a very good sign, right? We are getting past that 95,000 points resistance I've been talking about. No weakness on the daily time frame that I'm seeing here, so that is looking good on the daily. 3 day, we just had a 3 day candle close. Not a very solid candle close above the 3 day 50 SMA. So something to just, keep in the back of your mind, right? But we are getting past that 95,000, okay? So, and we are getting, we are right at, just very small on top of, we have a very small breakout on top of that 3 day 50 SMA. Weekly 21 SMA, we still are, let's see how this weekly candle closes, because we do have that weekly 21 SMA as resistance. And it'll still be as resistance until we get a solid candle close above that moving average. All right, so let's come back here to the 3 day time frame. Very important. I've talked about this for the past couple of weeks. Double bottom pattern. We are seeing that breakout right now. Price target out of that double bottom pattern is going to be 104,000. Now, if Bitcoin reaches that target and some more, then the next key resistance, of course, is going to be the previous all-time high at about 110K. All right, and if we actually break that, which I think very likely that we will. Okay, that's just my opinion, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, right? If we actually form some type of rounded bottom and then probably some type of cup and handle, right, then I can give you a price target then. But right now, let's focus on, let's see if this actually breaks 110K, the previous all-time high. And we're getting very close, okay? We're getting very close, and we're going to be looking at the charts and seeing, and probably even counting down to a breakout if possible. Okay, now that is the Bitcoin chart. Let's take a look into Ethereum. Okay, Ethereum lagging behind Bitcoin and the altcoins. Total 3, which is altcoins excluding Ethereum. Okay, now what I mean is, because Bitcoin is already above its daily 200 SMA, which is huge, which is basically the definition between a bull market and a bear market. We are above that for Bitcoin with a very solid candle close. So that gives me a lot of confidence for this market right now. However, Ethereum is still lagging quite behind. It is still at the daily 50 SMA, and just look at how far away that daily 200 SMA is. I mean, could it catch up very quickly? Yes. It could get a huge pump. But as of right now, it's pretty far away from, where the rest of the crypto market is. The daily 200 SMA is about 2750. The price target out of this huge downtrend, which I talked about just, last week, is about 2900. Okay. Now, if Bitcoin is able to stay above the daily 200 and, getting back to its previous all-time highs, I don't see why not Ethereum could actually soar past 3,500 again. Okay. If Bitcoin is able to, stay above, its breakout right now and go back towards its previous all-time high. Like I said, all eyes still on Bitcoin. Total 3 here. You guys will see what I mean. Total 3 is actually above its most of its daily moving averages, and right now it's trying to get back on top of the daily 200, which is about 850 billion, which is the orange line here. Did break out of this very similar looking chart here, just like Ethereum, right? Price target is going to be almost 1.1 trillion, which could do some pretty amazing pumps for some of these, especially some of these smaller altcoins. I'm sure you guys have already seen, right? So yeah, that's basically what I'm looking at. It could be pretty crazy for the for the short term coming, right? Because we have this price target. Now, price targets, like I said, they're only estimates, but it gives me a pretty good idea on, where to take profits, where to close positions, where to open positions. Let's come over here to stock market, which is also very important because it usually has a very high correlation with Bitcoin. And right now, stock market looks like it's doing very well as well because it has actually broken out of that falling wedge pattern. And price target for S&P 500 mini futures, it's going to be about 5,800. Okay, right up to that daily 200 SMA. Okay, so very important to be paying attention to this as well because even though sometimes it could be decoupling from Bitcoin, most of the time it's still the correlation is still there and it could serve as a front running signal for Bitcoin. Let's go over to Trump Coin real quick for one of my subscribers who did a request, okay, and see what Trump Coin could be doing. All right, it will be Trump USD, I'm assuming. Okay. This one doesn't really give me that much data. I wonder if there's more data for another exchange. Alright, let's see if MEXC, that usually gives me more data. Actually, very similar, very similar. So let's just go to use Coinbase. Alright, let me just do this live for you, okay? Yeah, let's just use Coinbase. Alright, let's see what's going on here. I'm sure there's not even it's a very new coin, right? It's barely got any data on the daily time frame. Monthly time frame, we don't have an RSI reading. So I'm not really concerned with that right now, right? Weekly time frame, still no RSI reading. Something to be paying attention to though on the monthly time frame is that when it usually goes into overbought territory. Like, you guys can actually go and see on the monthly time frame for all altcoins. Just compare, just look. How long does each altcoin or most altcoins stay in overbought territory on the monthly time frame? Uh, and after observing that, you can probably get a pretty good idea of when it's actually too risky to be in an altcoin. All right, just throwing that out there. You should definitely study that, right? Because it could serve as a very good reference point on when it's too risky to hold an altcoin, right? Now, since we don't have a monthly time frame reading here, we're gonna have to, if you're in this coin, you might want to read it on a lower time frame on the RSI and kind of gauge how risky it is to be in this position or a newer altcoin without monthly time frame RSIs, right? Now, let's take a look. Daily time frame. Let's see if we have any moving averages on the 3-day time frame. Yes, we do. We actually just came across the 3-day 21 SMA at about almost $11, right? Um, and then we're not in overbought territory for the 3-day time frame. So, in my opinion, not looking risky at all, right? For this position, for this market. Now, on the daily time frame, something very important is that I am seeing a higher low here, which was at about $12. and it is making a higher high, right? So it could be, it could be making a move right now, because when you see higher highs and higher lows, if the higher low holds, then the next logical move is a higher high, right? Which it seems to be making right now. But you also want to be paying attention to the RSI, right? And see, for any potential weakness, or, if it will keep going if it doesn't have weakness. Or if it does have weakness or divergence, you can at least kind of gauge what's the probability of it keep going, right? At least you have an idea that you're kind of in risky territory, right? When you see divergence, because that usually means a reversal. However, of course, there are times where it keeps going, like I just pointed out in Bitcoin, but you're gonna just have to keep that idea in your mind, right? That there is divergence, and some risk is there. Now let's come over here to 12-hour. Yep, we're seeing that very clear higher high and higher low and higher high. So there is divergence on this 12-hour time frame. Just just to keep in the back of your head, right? That there could be a reversal, at least on that time frame. 6-hour, same thing, right? On the RSI. 4-hour, same thing, right? Let's come down here to a smaller time frame where we are seeing a rounded bottom, right? So, this rounded bottom is not completely developed into a cup and handle. So, some ideas here is that it could be coming up to $16, because that was where the previous resistance was. And that could develop into a cup and handle, right? That's just a very preliminary thought. So I can't really give you a price target here, because it doesn't really have a pattern right now. Let's just say hypothetically, okay? Hypothetically, this turns into a cup and handle, which usually breaks to the upside, okay? So this is not completely developed, and I'm just saying hypothetically, so something to be keeping an eye out on. Let's just say if it actually does form a cup and handle, and if it actually does break out, measured target is going to be about just above $20 here, right? So that's potentially what you could be seeing, right? So that is just what I'm projecting. If anything changes on this chart, you can send me another comment, and if I choose your technical analysis request, we can update this chart again on this channel. Now that basically wraps it up for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys got something out of it. I'm sure you guys did. Like, subscribe, comment, and have a beautiful day and weekend.